So, you're looking for a dog trainer. It can feel like a pretty big decision, right? Today, we're going to break down everything you need to know specifically for us here in the New Prague community. Being a dog owner in New Prague is pretty special. We've got our own unique vibe, our own local challenges, and of course, our charms. The goal is to make sure your dog isn't just living here, but is really thriving here. All right, first things first. We need to think about what training actually means for life in New Prague. Yeah, sit and stay are great, but real success, that's about having a dog who's comfortable and well-behaved in our specific town. So what does that really look like? Well, picture this. A nice, calm walk down Main Street. A dog that doesn't get startled when some farm equipment rumbles by. And, oh yeah, a dog that can actually ignore those super distracting squirrels on the cedar trail. We're aiming for a dog who's a great companion everywhere, from Memorial Park all the way back to your own neighborhood. Okay, so how do we get there? Let's look at the different training options out there. Knowing what's available is really the first step to picking the right path for you and your pup. You're going to hear this term a lot, positive reinforcement. And honestly, it's the foundation of good modern training. The whole idea is super simple. You reward the behaviors you like. And it's not just about tossing treats. It's about building a real bond of trust, so your dog actually wants to learn with you. It's humane, it's effective, and it just works. Most of the time, you'll be choosing between two main formats, group classes or private sessions. Group classes, they're awesome for practicing with other dogs and people around, real-life distractions. Plus, they're great for socialization and are usually easier on the wallet. But private sessions, that's where you get that one-on-one attention to work on very specific things, maybe behaviors that only pop up at home. Now, there is a third option out there, board and train. This is where your dog goes to live with a trainer for a bit for some really intensive learning. It can be a great option for some, but you absolutely have to do your homework here. Really vet the facility, ask about their methods, and make sure you feel 100% comfortable before you even think about it. All right, so we know the what and the how. Now for the who. Let's talk about picking the right professional to help you. Okay, so you're looking at trainers, and you see all these letters after their names, right? Like CPDTK or KPIA-CTP. It can look like a bunch of alphabet soup, but these are actually really important. They mean the trainer has passed tough exams, they're dedicated to keeping their skills up to date, and they follow a professional code of ethics. If you're dealing with trickier behavior stuff, you might even see something like CBCC-K. Let's talk money, because of course, that's a big part of the decision. Here in the New Prague area, a typical group class that runs for a few weeks is going to be somewhere between, say, $140 and $250. A private lesson is usually in the $80 to $140 range. And that board and train option? That's a much bigger investment, often starting around $1,500. Just having these ballpark figures helps you know what to expect. So when you're talking to a potential trainer, and yeah, you should think of it as an interview, have your questions ready. You want to ask about their training philosophy. You're listening for positive reinforcement. Ask about their certifications, the ones we just talked about. Can they build a plan just for your dog and your goals? And before you sign anything, get a super clear breakdown of every single cost. Okay, let's bring it right back home to New Prague. Because great training isn't just about what happens in a class. It's about being a good dog-owning citizen. And that means knowing the local rules and, the best spots to practice. I've got a number for you to remember, and it's a big one. 6 feet. That's it. That's the maximum leash length you're allowed to have in New Prague anytime you're off your property. This is really important to think about with those retractable leashes, because if it's extended way out, you might not be in compliance. Honestly, a standard 6-foot leash is your best friend here. It's safe and it follows the rules. And besides the leash law, there are a few other key things to keep in mind. First, your dog has to have their current rabies tag on their collar. Second, that whole quiet manners thing we talked about, it's important because excessive barking can actually be a nuisance violation here. And one last thing, while you don't need a specific dog license in LeSueur County, you absolutely still have to follow the state's vaccinations laws. Now, this is especially for anyone who has just adopted a dog. Have you heard of the 3-3-3 rule? It's a fantastic guideline. It basically says it takes about 3 days for a dog to decompress, 3 weeks to learn your routine, and 3 months to really start feeling at home. It's just a good reminder to be patient, and any good trainer will get this and build it into your training plan. Okay, you've been working hard in training. So where can you go to practice? Well, Memorial Park is fantastic for those structured leash walks. The Cedar Trail is your go-to for working on focus with all sorts of natural distractions. And hey, once that come when called is really reliable, the new Prague Dog Park is a great spot to practice off-leash. For some nice leashed hiking, the Murphy's Landing area is perfect too. So, when you think about it, what does all this training really get you? It's about so much more than just fixing a problem. It's about being able to fully enjoy everything New Prague has to offer with your dog. I hope this helps you on your training journey, because having that well-trained dog just makes everything better. Better walks, calmer evenings at home, and way less stress when friends or family come to visit.